Λοιπόν, είμαστε έτοιμοι. Περνάμε στο κομμάτι της βιώσιμης ανάπτυξης, sustainability υπεράνω όλων. Και έχω τη χαρά και την τιμή μια σύντομη συζήτηση με τον κύριο Όμηρο Σαρίκα. Τον Όμηρο τον φέραμε άρον-άρον από την Αγγλία για να να παραβρεθεί στο σημερινό event που βραβεύουμε τις αξιοθαύμαστες επιχειρήσεις στην Ελλάδα. Και στο σημείο αυτό θέλω να θυμίσω ότι δύο από τα κριτήρια που στέλνουν στην κορυφή της λίστας τις εταιρείες είναι η μακροπρόθεσμη επενδυτική αξία και η εταιρική κοινωνική ευθύνη. Και σήμερα, επενδυτική αξία και εταιρική ευθύνη δεν υπάρχουν χωρίς τα ESGs, τα οποία βρίσκονται στο προσκήνιο και ως επενδυτής, ως επικεφαλής managing partner και co-founder της Brookstreet Equity Partners, ο Όμηρος βρίσκεται εδώ για να μας φωτίσει τον τρόπο με τον οποίο μπορούν τα ESGs να φέρουν απτά και μετρήσιμα για τις επιχειρήσεις. Ο ήχος μου πάει και έρχεται. Δεν ξέρω αν πάει και έρχεται και σε εσάς, σε όλους. Κάντε κάτι από την Μύρε. Καλώς όρισες. Σε ευχαριστούμε. Να μου πεις την Brookstreet Equity Partners. Και εμένα δεν ακούγομαι. Δεν ακούγεται καθόλου. Μιλήστε εσείς. Μήπως με ακούτε καλύτερα. Ωραία, τέλεια. Λοιπόν, θα ήθελα να μας πεις λίγο για τη στρατηγική της εταιρείας, δηλαδή πού στοχεύουν οι επενδύσεις της Brookstreet Equity Partners. Και για να σε προλάβω, επειδή ξέρω ότι όταν μιλάς επαγγελματικά δεν σε βολεύουν τα ελληνικά, I will address you the questions in Greek and feel free to answer them either in Greek or in Greeklish or in English. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Anastasia. So, Brookstreet Equity is a fund registered in London. It's an FCA fund by Greek co-founders. And we effectively invest all over Europe, and we have a dedicated pool for Greece. We started investing in 2017, and we focus primarily on the fourth industrial revolution and ESG tech.
Ωραία. Με ποια κριτήρια, θέλω να σε ρωτήσω όμως, ως Brookstreet, επενδύεται σε ποιες εταιρείες, κάτω από ποιες προϋποθέσεις δηλαδή, και κάτω από ποιες προϋποθέσεις φτάνετε να εξαγοράσετε εταιρείες. Και νομίζω ότι είναι η ώρα να πέσει το πρώτο slide.
What we've done is that, that's about us. I think we can move to the next one.
Το επόμενο, μπράβο.
That's about it. So, when we came to Greece, we realized, I can see Apostolos there, that Equifund created funds on the early stage, a lot of the seed and venture. There was a lot of tech in Greece, and I used to advise one of the funds here, back in the Jeremy program. And then there were the big boys that were on the right, the so-called growth funds. What we observed was the gap in the middle, and that's a very substantial gap all over the world called the equity funding gap. So there's a lot of money sponsored via grants for the startups, there's a lot of money for the buyouts, and there's always that middle place. So that's the one that we captured.
Να σε ρωτήσω όμως, πώς βλέπεις το επενδυτικό κλίμα στην Ελλάδα? Θεωρητικά υπάρχουν μακροοικονομικές συνθήκες που they are not the best. Πιστεύεις ότι υπάρχουν ευκαιρίες και σε ποιους τομείς?
If we play a couple of slides more, I mean, we've seen 35,000 companies in this country. And if you go a couple of more slides, the next one, please. The opportunity, the next one, here. The opportunity that we see now, it's very different to what we saw in 2016-17, right? 2016-17 was about value investing in this country. I think we're talking about growth investing. Dimas is working a lot on the Elevate Greece. RRF by Thodoros, I think he's doing a lot of work on this. And that's phenomenal, what they have achieved in this country. So 31 billion, which can be matched with private investments. If you do the per capita ratio, we're the #1 country in Europe in terms of money that will be put to work. Yes. So what we see right now is that it's probably the best place. And the place I come from, you can see England there with the Brexit 0.9. So it's the best place that we're going to see government money supporting private initiatives. So actually, compared to the other countries, this is one of the best countries in Europe to invest right now.
ESGs, Environmental Social Governance. Θέλω να μου πεις, Όμηρε, Για σας τους επενδυτές, τι σημαίνει αυτό, πόση σημασία του δίνετε και αν, ας πούμε, επηρεάζει η εφαρμογή τους από τις εταιρείες τη δική σας στρατηγική.
Yeah, again, if you go a couple of more, perhaps we can show you a little bit.
Επόμενο slide.
Next slide. So this is where things are happening right now in Greece, right? These are the 6 pillars. And green, we can see in digital transformation, the pillars that we focus on. They are very, very hot right now in the country. But if you go to ESG on the next one, on the next slide, please. So in London and in America, 7 out of 10 investors that give money to funds will not touch you unless you integrate ESG. That means by default, we will integrate ESG in our processes, and we're going to force it all the way down, right? It comes from the top, something called PRI, Principles of Responsible Investment.
Yes.
Οι θεσμικοί επενδυτές, in Greek, έχουν υπογράψει 123 εκατομμύρια δολάρια να πέσουν με ESG κριτήρια. So all the big institutional investors are forcing the private equity community and very recently the venture capital community to consider ESG.
So ESG is not a trend?
No, I think it's systemic. I think it started as part of the Paris Climate Agreement and all that. And I think everybody saw it as a Me Too point.
Yeah.
But I think following COVID, it became the priority of how we're going to do business. And by means of example, it's going to affect your debt. Yeah, at which cost of capital you're going to affect. It's going to affect negative screening when people are buying you. It's going to affect exits. It's going to affect valuations. It's going to affect everything.
Κάτι σημαντικό που θέλω να σε ρωτήσω. Κάθε χώρα δεν ακολουθεί την ίδια τακτική για τον τρόπο με τον οποίο οι επιχειρήσεις καλούνται να αποτυπώσουν με μετρήσιμο και απτό τρόπο τα αποτελέσματα που συνδέονται με τις εκθέσεις ESGs. Το PRI βοηθάει προς αυτή την κατεύθυνση. Τους επενδυτές μόνο.
I think PRI, and we have a slide on that on the next one, it's more of a, I subscribe to actually go there. What I think will happen is over the next 3 years, we're going to see internal ESG capabilities. Right now, what we see is we buy reports and people tell us, give me a ranking of my company or what companies I'm actually investing. I think there's a lot of certificates going on. CFA in Delphi announced the ESG one. And I think we're going to see internal competencies within the funds on ESG. And in fact, we might even see dedicated funds. And we'll come to that in a minute.
Κλιματική κρίση είναι το μεγαλύτερο ίσως πρόβλημα που αντιμετωπίζει ο πλανήτης αυτή τη στιγμή. Οι επιχειρήσεις το έχουν αντιληφθεί, δεν ξέρω αν τα βήματα που γίνονται είναι αρκετά. Από την άλλη πλευρά έχουμε γεωπολιτική αστάθεια, ο πόλεμος στην Ουκρανία καλά κρατεί. Πιστεύεις ότι όλες αυτές οι αναταραχές και όλη αυτή η αβεβαιότητα και όλες αυτές οι πληθωριστικές πιέσεις που μας οδηγούν να μην μπορούμε να απεξαρτηθούμε από τα ορυκτά καύσιμα, μπορούν να βάλουν φρένο στη βιώσιμη ανάπτυξη?
For sure. And I think that's the point of my last slide. I think that we're going to start reflecting and we're going to do bridges. Before it was like, let's go solar, let's go green, and not do anything else. I think now we had a reality check. We're going to need energy now. We're going to do technologies now, software, hardware to manage the facilities of this place as we speak right now. And ESG is not just environment, right? There is social, there is governance, there is women founders, women entrepreneurs, there is all of these issues. And I think we're going to start breeding a new wave of founders and investors that will actually have this at their core. And I think from a me too nice to have, ESG is all about now the financial impact as well. And to that point, we will be very focused on that initiative ourselves. I think the last slide, a couple of slides more, by the way, I think, from the flow of the decks.
Έχεις να μας πεις κάτι για το 2023 και την Brookstreet Equity Partners πριν ολοκληρώσουμε αυτή την πολύ σύντομη αλλά ενδιαφέρουσα κουβέντα? Τι σκέφτεστε, πού στρέφεστε?
Hopefully, we will be in a pleasant position very soon to announce that we will put to work between $100 million just on this strategy, going from 2023 all the way forward. We're working on this right now.
So, thank you so much for your insight and this excellent talk. Thank you, Όμηρος.
Thank you, Anastasia.